May beloved child, you did not find this message by accident. I, Archangel Michael, had been reaching for you across time, across silence, across every moment you thought no one was watching. And I need you to stop right now, because what I am about to say to you cannot wait another second. The divine clock has been counting down to this exact moment, and the fact that you are still here, still reading, still breathing, is already proof that heaven has not given up on you. This is not a video. This is a visitation. Your soul already knows the difference, because something inside you shifted the moment these words began. That is not anxiety you are feeling. That is recognition. That is the part of you that has always known there was more, that has always sensed something greater just beyond the edge of what you could see, waking up because heaven is finally close enough to touch. This is real, and you already know it is real. I have been watching you carry weight that was never meant for your shoulders. I have seen you smile in rooms full of people while something deep inside you was quietly breaking. I have heard every prayer you whispered in the dark when you were too exhausted to even find the right words. Every single one reached heaven. Not one was lost. Not one was ignored. They were gathered and held and brought before the throne, and the answer to all of them is what brought this message to you today. I have also seen the moments when you almost stopped praying altogether. The moments when the silence felt like rejection, when the waiting felt like abandonment, when you started to wonder whether any of this was real or whether you had been believing in something that would never truly show up for you. I was there in those moments too. I was closer than your own breath in those moments. And what I want you to know is that the silence was never absence. It was preparation. The waiting was not punishment. It was positioning. Everything that felt like it was going wrong was being arranged, so that everything that was always meant to be right could land in your life at exactly the right time. That time is now. Before we go any further, I need you to do one thing. Subscribe to this channel right now, because what comes next was prepared specifically for you, and I cannot let you miss another message that heaven has already sealed with your name on it. Subscribing is not just clicking a button. It is an act of spiritual positioning. It is you telling God that you are open, that you are listening, that you are done letting the busyness of life drown out the voice that has been trying to reach you. Do it now. And then stay with me, because this is only the beginning of what heaven wants to say to you today. Now let me speak to the part of you that no one else sees. You've been tired for a long time. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but the kind that settles deep in your bones and makes even the simple things feel like they require more than you have left to give. You have spent years being the strong one, the dependable one, the one that everyone else leans on, and you have done it beautifully. But I see what it has cost you. I see the version of you that exists behind the competence and the composure, the version that is quietly desperate for someone to say, "Let me carry that for a while." You deserve that, and heaven has heard that unspoken longing more times than you know. You have given your best to situations and to people who gave you their leftovers in return. You have loved people who did not love you the way you deserved, and you blamed yourself for the gap. You have poured yourself into relationships, into work, into family, into other people's dreams, while your own dreams sat quietly in the corner, patient and faithful, waiting for you to finally come back to them. And somewhere along the way, you started to wonder if those dreams were even real anymore. If they had an expiration date that had already passed, if the window had closed and you had missed it. It has not closed. I am standing in that window right now, and I am holding it open for you. You were not built for a small life. You were not born to carry everyone else's peace while yours was slowly stolen from you. There is a version of your life that exists just on the other side of the fear you've been living inside, and it is more beautiful, more full, more alive than anything that fear has ever been able to let you imagine. I have seen it. I have been holding it carefully, like something precious, like something that deserves to be received with open hands. And I am here today because heaven decided that the time for holding is over. The time for receiving has come. There is something else I need you to hear, because it matters more than almost anything else I will say today. The loneliness you have been feeling is not a flaw. The sense that no one truly understands you, the feeling that you are always slightly on the outside of something wonderful that everyone else seems to have access to, that is not evidence that something is wrong with you. That is evidence of something extraordinary that is in you. People who are built for ordinary lives rarely feel this particular kind of longing. It is the souls who were designed for something larger who feel the gap most acutely, because the soul knows its assignment, even when the mind has not yet caught up. The depth of your longing is a direct reflection of the depth of what is coming to fill it, and what is coming is not small. I see the nights when you lay awake and let the quiet accusations replay, the choices you second-guessed, the relationships that ended in ways you never fully understood, the opportunities you reached for and missed or let go of before you should have. I see how your mind has turned those moments over and over, looking for the mistake, looking for the reason, as if understanding what went wrong would somehow undo the ache of it. But I want you to hear this clearly. Your past does not disqualify you. Your failures do not define you. Your pain does not have the final word over your future. Every single thing that happened, the good and the devastating and the confusing and the beautiful, was part of a story that is still being written. And the pen is in a hand far steadier than your own. I see the mornings when you had to convince yourself to get up and keep going. I see the versions of happiness you quietly buried because someone, at some point, made you feel that wanting those things was too much, that you were asking for more than someone like you is allowed to have. I see the moments you shake yourself to make others more comfortable, the times you stayed quiet when you had something true and important to say. The ways you have made yourself smaller and smaller over the years, believing that this was somehow the safer, the kinder, the more acceptable way to exist. It was not, and heaven has watched every moment of it with a grief that you do not yet fully understand, because you were never meant to be small. You were meant to be exactly as much as you are, fully, without apology, without diminishment, without the constant self-editing that has become so automatic you barely notice you are doing it anymore. And the moment you stop shrinking, everything changes. If this message is already touching something in you, something real and deep and long overdue, I want you to press the like button right now. Not for an algorithm, not for a number, but as a declaration that you are here, that you are present, that you are receiving what heaven is speaking over your life in this moment. Let it be your first act of agreement. Let it be your way of saying to God, I hear you, and I am not going to pretend I do not. Press it now. Now, I want to tell you something that very few people are ever positioned to receive. Your name has been spoken in heaven, not in passing, not in a general blessing over all of humanity, specifically, with intention, with authority, with love that you have not yet fully grasped the weight of. There was a gathering, a divine moment of agreement, and the subject was your life, your delays, your unanswered prayers, the doors that have stayed closed when you pushed against them with everything you had. And the decision that was reached in that gathering is the entire reason this message exists, and the entire reason it found you today. The delays are ending. The silence is breaking. The closed doors are about to open, not because you finally figured out the right formula, not because you earned it through suffering, but because the season of preparation has come to its completion and the season of manifestation has officially begun. And nothing that was prepared for you before you were born has an expiration date. It has been waiting, patient and certain and fully intact, and it is releasing now. But I have to be honest with you, because love does not dress up hard truths. The reason some of your blessings have been delayed is not because you are unworthy. It is because you have been standing at the edge of them and stepping back, over and over. You ask God for something, and then you spend the next several days quietly arguing yourself out of expecting it. You feel a sign, and you talk yourself into calling it coincidence because believing is riskier than doubting. You hear a nudge toward something new, something that your spirit recognizes and responds to, and then your mind steps in and lists every reason why that nudge is probably just wishful thinking. This is the pattern heaven needs you to break today. I need you to type 3 words in the comments right now. I am ready, not casually, not as something you type and immediately scroll past. Type it as a covenant. Type it as the line in the sand between the version of you that has been running from your own life and the version of you that is done running. Every angel assigned to you will feel the shift when you type those words. Something in the atmosphere around you will move. Heaven responds to declarations of faith the way air responds to a window being opened. Do it now before we go any further. I am ready. Now, before I continue with what heaven has prepared for you today, I want to speak to you about something that goes beyond this single moment and this single message. This mission, these words, this work of reaching souls who are exhausted and lost and standing right at the edge of giving up, it is sustained by people who believe that it matters. If this message has stirred something real in you, if you felt your chest tighten or your eyes fill or something quiet unlock that had been sealed for a long time, that I want to invite you to stand with this work in a practical way. You can buy a coffee through the link in the description or in the pinned comment below. It is a small gesture, but in the economy of heaven, there is no such thing as a small act of generosity. Every seed you plant into mission like this grows into a harvest that returns to you in forms you did not anticipate and cannot fully explain. Give, and it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. That is not poetry. That is a law of the spiritual realm, as reliable as gravity, as certain as the sunrise. Your support does not go to a channel. It goes to a calling, and your name becomes attached to every soul that is reached because of it. That is a legacy worth building. Buy a coffee today through the link below and let heaven record it. Now let me tell you what I see coming for you. There's a person who has been thinking about you, not occasionally, persistently, in the kind of way that interrupts other thoughts, that surfaces at unexpected moments, that refuses to be fully quieted no matter how much time passes. They have picked up their phone to reach out to you more times than you would believe, and each time something stopped them. Fear, mostly. The fear that too much has changed. The fear that you have moved on. The fear that they waited too long and the door is now closed. But the door is not closed. It never was. And they are being prepared, right now, to finally take the step they have been standing at the edge of for longer than either of you knows. When they reach out, do not meet them with the walls you have built. I know why those walls exist. I know every stone that was used to build them and exactly what it cost you to place each one. But those walls were built to protect you from the past, and what is coming toward you now is not the past. It is something new, something that belongs to the season that is beginning. Receive it with the openness that your soul has been quietly preserving all this time, the openness that fear kept covered but never fully destroyed. There's also a financial shift that is already in motion. I know that money has been a source of stress, a source of quiet shame, a source of panic that you have become skilled at hiding from almost everyone around you. I know what it feels like to do the math in your head before you fall asleep and feel the numbers not adding up the way they need to. I know what it feels like to pray for provision and then feel nothing move, to wonder whether you are praying wrong or whether you are simply one of the people for whom this kind of miracle is not available. But it is available for you. It has always been available for you, and the flow that is coming is not a trickle. It is a river that has been building pressure behind a dam that is about to break open. Pay attention around the 11th. Do not go into that time braced for disappointment the way you have trained yourself to approach good things, already preparing for them not to happen so that it hurts less when they do not. Go into it open, eyes forward, heart unguarded. A message, a connection, a sudden clarity, an opportunity that arrives looking slightly different than you expected, a small shift that turns out to be the hinge on which everything else turns. Miracles rarely arrive wearing the costume you designed for them, but your spirit will recognize this one, and when you feel that recognition, act on it immediately. Do not wait for it to make more sense. Do not wait until you feel more ready. That moment will be me, making good on what was agreed in your name before you ever drew your first breath. I also want you to understand something about the prayers you have been praying. None of them are wasted, not the ones you prayed with confidence, and not the ones you prayed through gritted teeth wondering if anyone was really listening. Not the ones you prayed at 3 in the morning when the silence felt unbearable, and not the ones you prayed so many times that the words started to feel hollow even to you. Every single prayer was received. Every single one was acted upon. The answers were always coming. They were coming through layers of timing and positioning, and the movement of things in the spiritual realm that you cannot see from where you are standing. The answers were always coming, and the ones that have been longest in arriving are the ones that are bringing the most with them when they land. Something is about to land. I need you to subscribe to this channel right now if you have not already done so, because the conversation that has begun today needs to continue, and heaven has more to say to you than can be contained in a single message. Subscribing keeps you in position. It keeps the line of communication open. It is you telling heaven, I want more of this, I want to keep receiving what has been prepared for me. Do it now. Subscribe. And then come back, because what follows will only build on what has already been spoken over you today. Let me talk now about the people who are connected to your story. There are people in your life whose breakthrough is tied to yours in ways that neither of you can currently see. They may not appear to be spiritually aware. They may seem distant, difficult, or entirely indifferent to the things that matter most deeply to you. But the connections between souls do not require mutual awareness to be real and active. What happens in you sends ripples outward that reach people you may not even realize you are affecting. Your healing gives others in your circle permission to heal. Your courage creates a current that makes courage more accessible for the people watching you, even the ones who are watching without appearing to watch. There is someone in your family who has been on your heart. You may not have spoken this aloud to anyone, but you carry a concern for them that lives just beneath the surface of your daily life, a prayer you return to again and again because something in you knows they are in a place where human help alone cannot reach them. I see how much you love this person. I see what it costs you to witness their struggle from a distance that feels both too close and not close enough. And I want you to know that your love for them, your covering of them in prayer, your refusal to release the promise you hold for their life, has not gone unnoticed by heaven. The battles they are facing were never meant to be permanent. The patterns that have followed your family across generations, the cycles that you can trace through the people who came before you, those cycles are meeting their end. They are meeting their end in you, not because you are the most powerful person in your family, but because you were chosen. You were placed in this family, in this generation, in this specific moment, because you carry something that can break what nothing else has been able to break. And as you step into your own healing and say yes to your own destiny, you become the door through which healing flows into your family in both directions, backward through what has been carried for too long, and forward into what the generations after you will be able to live in freedom. Type the word Amen in the comments right now. Type it as a declaration over your family. Type it as an agreement with the generational healing that heaven has already set in motion. Let your faith go before your loved ones like a light into every dark place they are navigating. Every Amen you type is a prayer answered and a stake planted in the ground of your family's future. Do it now. Amen. And as you do, I want to invite you one more time to stand with this mission in a way that extends beyond this moment. Through the link in the description or in the pinned comment below, you can buy a coffee and sow into a work that is reaching families exactly like yours. Families where one person said yes when it would have been easier not to. Families where one person chose to believe when believing felt impossible. Your generosity today becomes a seed in the harvest of someone else's breakthrough. And the law of multiplication that governs the kingdom of heaven ensures that what you give does not simply leave your hand. It goes ahead of you, preparing ground, opening doors, and multiplying in ways that will return to you pressed down and running over. Give for your family. Give for the families you will never meet but whose lives will be touched because you did. Buy a coffee through the link below. Now I want to show you something clearly. There are two futures in front of you, and I can see them both. I want you to see them too. In the first future, you say yes, you stay, you listen, you act, and what follows is not a single dramatic moment, but a steady, unstoppable, genuinely miraculous unfolding. Within days, something shifts in the atmosphere around you, a conversation you were not expecting, a door that opens from the inside, a sense of peace that arrives without obvious cause and stays without requiring your effort to maintain it. The person who has been thinking about you finds the courage to reach out, and this time you are able to receive them with open hands instead of bracing for it to go wrong. The financial pressure that has felt like a permanent ceiling begins to lift, slowly at first, and then with a momentum that surprises even the most cautious part of you. You sleep more deeply, you laugh more easily, you walk into rooms and feel, for the first time and longer than you can clearly remember, that you belong there, that there is room for you, that the space was waiting for exactly you. People around you begin to respond to you differently because something in your energy has changed. Something heavy has been lifted. Something that was functioning as a block has been removed, not through your own effort, but through the simple and profound act of saying yes and meaning it and holding it. The generational patterns in your family begin to shift as your healing creates a new template for the people connected to you. You become the answer to prayers you did not know were being prayed for you. You become the testimony that gives someone who is about to stop believing permission to keep going. And one day, not years from now, You will look back at this exact second and understand with a clarity that moves you to tears that this was the moment. This was the turning point. This was when everything changed. But in the second future, you scroll away. You tell yourself you will come back to this later. Maybe tomorrow, when you have more time, when you are in a better headspace, when things feel more settled. And on the surface, life continues the way it has been. But over time, something cools. A door that was standing open eases quietly shut. The person who was on their way to you reads your silence and turns back. The financial opportunity arrives in a form you dismiss too quickly because you are not in a posture of expectation. The dreams grow quieter. The sense that something extraordinary was almost yours becomes a dull, nameless ache that you carry through your days without fully understanding where it comes from or why it will not leave. And in a quiet moment, in one of those moments when the day has ended, and it is just you and the stillness and your own thoughts, you will remember this. You will remember exactly how you felt reading these words. You will remember the warmth that moved through your chest and the recognition that rose in your spirit. And you will know, in the place where all true knowing lives without argument or negotiation, that you were close. You were so extraordinarily close. And that knowing will be the hardest part. I am not telling you this to frighten you. Fear is not my instrument. Love is, and it is love, a love that has been watching over you longer than your own memory reaches. That makes me willing to say the hard, true thing rather than the comfortable, empty one. You were not brought to this message by the algorithm. You were brought here by the movement of heaven in your direction. And heaven does not arrange divine appointments so that they can be politely set aside. So right now, before this window begins to close, I am asking you to make a choice. Not a complicated one. Not one that requires you to have everything resolved or understood or under control. Simply the choice to say yes. To stay, to receive, to stop walking past the door of your own miracle while you wait for it to look more like what you had in mind. Subscribe to this channel right now if you have not already done so, because this conversation is not finished. Heaven is not done speaking over your life, and there is more already prepared that your spirit needs to hear. Subscribe now as a declaration, as an act of deliberate faith, as your way of saying to heaven, I am staying, I am here, I am choosing to receive what has been prepared for me. Click subscribe, step into your alignment. Do it now. There is one more thing I want to say to you before we close this moment. You have been through things that would have broken most people. You have survived losses that left marks invisible to the eye, but fully present to the soul. You have rebuilt yourself in the dark, without applause, without anyone fully understanding what it cost you to still be standing, to still be choosing to show up, to still be reaching for something better even when better felt like a language you had almost forgotten how to speak. And I need you to receive this clearly, not politely, not as a nice thought, but as a fact established in heaven before the foundations of the earth. None of that was wasted. Not one sleepless night, not one silent tear, not one moment of holding yourself together when everything in you was screaming to let go. Not one prayer that felt like it dissolved into the ceiling. Not one act of love that seemed to go unnoticed or unreturned. All of it, every single piece of it, was building something in you that ordinary circumstances could never have produced. All of it was forming the version of you that is standing at this threshold right now, more ready than you feel and more prepared than you know, to walk into what was always yours. The strength you found in your lowest seasons is the exact strength you will lead for the elevation that is beginning. The compassion you developed through your own pain is the precise gift that will make you a light in rooms that desperately need one. The wisdom you earned through every hard lesson, through every relationship that taught you more about yourself than you wanted to know, through every version of yourself that you had to outgrow, that is the discernment that will protect everything heaven is releasing into your life. Your story has not been a detour. It has been a curriculum, and you have passed every test, even the ones that felt like failure at the time. Now the harvest is beginning. Now the things that were being held until the appointed time are arriving at the appointed time, and the appointed time is now. This season, the one that starts from this moment and moves forward into a future that has already been written and is waiting to be lived. Before you go, I want to hear from you one last time. Type these words in the comments right now. I am awakening, not as something you hope to become one day, not as a wish dressed up as a declaration, but as the truth of what is happening in you right now, in this moment, as these words settle into the places in you that have been waiting for permission to believe again. Heaven is listening. The angels assigned to your life are paying close attention. Let them hear you. Type it now. I am awakening. And would you have done that? If you have not yet subscribed, do it right now, because there is more coming. Heaven is not finished with this conversation, and I am not finished speaking over your life. Subscribe and return. Return tomorrow. Return every time you need to be reminded of who you are, what you carry, what you're capable of, and what has been promised over your life. These messages are not background content. They are letters from heaven addressed specifically to you. And you deserve every single word of every single one. Your Heavenly Father and I, Archangel Michael, are with you. We were with you before this message began. We will be with you long after it ends, through every step of the journey that is now beginning, covering every choice you make in the direction of your destiny, standing between you and everything that was designed to keep you from it. The promise is real, the miracle is moving, the door is open. And you, my beloved child, are ready to walk through it. Go now, but go differently than you came. Go with your head lifted. Go with your hands open. Go knowing that you are not walking alone, that you never were, and that you never will be again. You are loved, you always were, you always will be. I want to leave you with something to carry. Every morning from this point forward, before the noise of the day begins, before the demands arrive and the responsibilities press in, I want you to take one breath and remember this moment. Remember how it felt to hear that you were seen. Remember how something in you opened when you realized that the waiting was not rejection. Remember that you have angels standing with you, fighting beside you, clearing paths in the spiritual realm that are already becoming visible roads in the natural one. You do not have to be perfect to receive what heaven has for you. You do not have to have it all together. You do not have to finish healing before you are allowed to begin living. You can receive your miracle in the middle of your mess. You can walk into your destiny carrying the questions you have not yet answered and the wounds that have not yet fully closed. Heaven is not waiting for you to be finished. Heaven is meeting you exactly where you are. And from exactly where you are, everything is possible. That is the truth I was sent to remind you of today. Go forward, my child. Go forward knowing that what was promised has not been canceled. Go forward knowing that the delays were not denials. Go forward knowing that the version of you that exists on the other side of saying yes to heaven is more alive, more free, more at peace, and more genuinely joyful than anything fear has ever been able to show you. That version of you is real. That life is real. And it begins now, from this breath, from this choice, from this moment of saying yes and meaning it. Heaven is cheering, the angels are ready, and I am with you every single stick of the way.